Liam Smith walked his dogs every day when one day they started to act very strangely. The discovery they made that day would change his life forever. But what was it that made the dogs behave in such a way? And what would Liam do when he finally realized what was in the ground? Welcome to Wonderbot Animals. Liam Smith was satisfied with the life he had built. Since he was a teenager, he dreamed of meeting a beautiful girl and settling down with her. At only 20 years old, he found the perfect woman. For months, he did everything he could to be with her. He knew that if he tried hard enough, he would be lucky enough to end up with her. But one day, she finally told him to stop. Mary was tired of being chased by Liam. He had confessed his love for her several times, and she was fed up with it. She told him that she was finally ready to be with him, and from then on, things couldn't get better. At the age of 23, Mary was already the proud owner of a bakery, and Liam was a fitness instructor. They were together for 3 years when they decided to take the next step. Liam asked Mary to marry him, and she cried tears of joy. They couldn't wait to be together for the rest of their lives. But one thing was missing. They were happy together, but they knew something was missing. For this reason, they decided to adopt 3 beautiful dogs from shelters in their area. They knew that the 3 of them would be a handful, but they couldn't leave 2 there, knowing that they might be depressed and missing each other. This is how Rex, Joey and Bella were introduced to the couple. None of them were the same as the other, but now they were all part of a family. Nobody knew how it would turn out. Having 3 dogs turned out to be quite a hassle. Liam and Mary had to take turns taking them for walks every day. Although it was very tiring, they never regretted it. It was worth it. For an hour each day they walked around their property. But Mary and Liam had no idea that these walks would stay in their dogs' minds and lead to them discovering something that would change their lives. Liam began to notice that every time they passed a certain point on his property, the dogs would go crazy. They always seemed to smell and scratch the same spot in the yard. Liam called them to get them away from that area. He thought that a mouse or other small animal was hiding in the ground. But even though Liam eventually forgot about that spot, the dogs never did. Liam was completely wrong about what had interested them so much. At night, Liam and Mary always left the dogs outside to run around their property. They had kennels with warm blankets where they could rest safely every night. But Liam didn't know they were going to dig while he was sleeping. When Liam woke up the next morning, he quickly picked up the kettle full of dog food and left. When he reached the sliding glass door at the back, he was faced with something he didn't expect. All the dogs were covered in mud. Liam saw Rex drop something at his feet. When he saw what it was, he couldn't believe his eyes. Liam leaned down and picked up Rex's gift. He examined it carefully. It was round and flat, but completely covered in mud. He washed it quickly. It took him a good 10 minutes to rinse off all the dirt. He did not want to use objects that could damage the mysterious item. As he washed the dirt away, he slowly realized that underneath was shining gold. Where did the dogs find it? Once the coin was cleaned, Liam put it in one of his drawers. He made a mental note to look into it over the weekend. He didn't have time to do it now. He forgot about it and continued his day as usual. Before we continue with this story, like this video to help it reach 15k likes, share and subscribe to our channel. At night, once he finished work, he immediately went to bed, exhausted. If he had known what he would find the next day, he would have taken the coin much more seriously. It would have been the discovery of a lifetime for him. When Liam woke up the next day, he noticed another muddy coin near the door. He immediately knew it couldn't be a coincidence. He had to do something. He needed answers. He decided to take the dogs for a walk, hoping to find out where they had found the coins. He hoped that a neighbor would report the theft of the money. But when he found the answer to his questions, it was something he never expected. He felt the knot in his stomach as he crouched down and put his hand in the hole his dogs had dug. He felt something. It definitely wasn't what he had expected. He had no idea what was going to happen. His hand shook as he looked at his dog. He had to make some phone calls if he wanted to get to the bottom of things. He had no idea that this would change his life forever. An old rusty paint can began to emerge from the ground. Liam started digging around it with a stick until he was able to lift it out of its hiding place. It was heavy and closed with an old rusty lid. Someone had been very careful to hide everything in it, but why? Liam tried to open the container with his hands, but it was tightly closed and rusted. He lifted it to his ear and shook it cautiously from side to side. The contents moved with a heavy clack, clack. What could be inside? Liam would have to wait a little longer to find out. He rushed to get a pair of pliers and a chainsaw, finally emerging with a broad smile, and began to open the rusty can. He was nervous with anticipation of finding something valuable. He crushed the top hard with pliers and twisted, and the lid came loose, spraying dried clumps of dirt and dust as it fell. Barely containing himself, he peered inside. His first glance into the darkness of the can didn't reveal much of its contents. There was what looked like dirt and gravel, but this wouldn't stop him from continuing his search. The earth inside was wet and compacted, but then something shiny caught his eye, and he realized he would have to dig deeper to reveal the contents inside. Liam dug around inside the can with his fingers, the wet dirt getting stuck under his nails. Then his fingertips felt something different, sticking out from under the sand and gravel in that old rusty paint can. Something fresh and smooth, with grooved edges. Something that looked like metal. "I found something," he whispered. Coin after coin emerged, and Liam gasped in amazement. After gently lifting them out of the mud with his sleeve, he held them up to the light to see them better. The first one was dated 1886. Amazing! He laid the other coins out on the table to inspect them, and the rest of the coins in the mysterious stash did not disappoint him. In total, there were more than 100 ancient coins in the rusty can. Liam couldn't believe his luck, and the more he withdrew, the more his astonishment increased. He didn't know that the rusty can was just the beginning of the mystery. But where did the coins come from, and were there others? At that moment, Liam was only asking one question. Were there other coins hidden on the grounds of the property, waiting to be found? There was only one way to find out. Much to his delight, as he dug a little, he began to discover other rusty cans. How many would there be? One can after another was pulled out of the ground, and one coin after another was found inside them. The discovery seemed endless. It was like a dream come true. Liam was delighted with the unexpected victory. After all, who really finds buried treasure? The magnitude of the hoard of coins he had found proved to be shocking. The coins were all identical to the ones he had collected from his dogs the day before. What was happening? He wondered where the coins could have come from. Had someone hidden them here decades or even centuries ago? Liam's mind raced to the thought of all the possibilities. Then he came to his senses and called two numbers. One was his wife's. The other was someone who could help him in this task. Liam called his wife and told her about the discovery he had just made. He told her that she had to ensure Noon was listening. Even though it was his property, he didn't want to risk anyone else finding out about what had happened. The next phone call was to an expert who would be able to identify the coins for him. For all he knew, they might be useless, but he had a feeling they were very special. Most of the coins dated from 1847 and 1894, making them more than a century old, dating back to the time of the California gold rush in the 1800s. But the date alone did not determine the true value of the coins, rather their volume. Liam had unearthed an impressive total of 1 to 400 ancient coins, and, most surprisingly, they were in incredible condition. As soon as the excitement subsided and he called an appraiser, the couple received the news. Most of the coins found were $20 gold pieces, also known as double eagles, and the surprises kept coming. Douglas Mudd, director and curator of money at the American Numismatic Association, explained that some of the nest egg coins were even rarer, such as the $5 piece known as the Dahlonega half eagle. But where did the coins come from? The expert told Liam that the coins were difficult to trace, but were probably worth a fortune. They were at least 100 years old, and since he had found them on his property, he had the right to keep them. But the man informed them that it was also possible that they were involved in a dark story that could jeopardize their chances of keeping the money. It didn't look like good news. When experts inspected the gold coins, they speculated that based on the dates on the coins and the cans they were found in, the stash may have been slowly buried over time. The total face value of the coins was $28,000. That was a lot of money in the late 1800s, Mudd explains. A great quantity. But who would bury a fortune in the ground? At the beginning of the 20th century, there was a robbery at the San Francisco Mint. It was feared that these coins could be the same as those stolen. The men who were captured never revealed the location. But after thinking about it, the expert told Liam that they would never know for sure and that it was best not to dwell on the subject. However, it was 100 years ago. Liam couldn't believe that he was entitled to this fortune, and it was all thanks to his own curiosity. In Europe, there are a lot of nest eggs, coins buried for hundreds or thousands of years, said Mudd, but they are less common in the United States. Our history is not that long, and most of the time we had banks. That's why people tended to put their money there. There are only a few likely explanations for the Saddle Ridge hoard, as the collection in question has now been called. According to Mudd, the enormous amount of coins found were probably buried in the couple's soil by an outlaw fleeing from justice. But how much is this incredible find worth? The response to the estimated value of the coins is absolutely impressive, $10 million in today's market. But the question on everyone's lips is, what will they do with all that money? It has been estimated that some of the rare gold coins can be worth up to $1 million alone, a sum of money that many can only dream of owning one day. The extremely lucky and elated couple decided to do the noble thing and pay their outstanding bills and then donate the rest of the precious coins to various charities in their community. Has your pet ever found anything valuable? What would you do if you made such a huge discovery? Let us know in the comments, and remember to like, share, and ring the notification bell for more amazing stories. See you next time.